This is my 2008 Kawasaki KFX450R. She's a real beauty. I paid 1,800 bucks for this thing. It's a roller and basically a box filled of junk. The person I bought it from bought it in this condition, and really the previous history is unknown. So I'm the lucky guy that gets to put this thing together. It's been sitting outside in the grass for God knows how long, collecting moss on the frame, and the rest of the engine parts have been sitting in bins for probably years. I can already tell it's going to be fun because I see cracks in the cases and just a number of other problems that we're going to have so much fun fixing. No, we're not. I bought this to compete in a shootout where we have a $3,000 budget to build the best machine. Some of you may remember it. It was called Top Quad. The competition is in 6 weeks. So can we get this thing running again? I'm sure we can. Is it going to be fun? Definitely not. Let's get into it. All right, guys. It is Friday morning, and we are going to pick up the next machine. I have about a 2-hour drive ahead of me here, so I'm going to put the hammer down. And we're gonna get there, see what we got. All right, guys, we're about 10 minutes out here. Shit. Exit. All right, guys, we're about 10 minutes out here. Wish me luck. Well, guys, I'm out here with Joe. Joe's a subscriber of mine, and I showed up, and it almost looks like a used quad dealership. Joe's got some really unique quads, like really unique, and he's got a shitload of Cannondales. And Cannondales are super unique. Some of you guys probably don't even know what they are. Joe actually just let me rip it. He has trails right by the house. I'll tell you what, man, this damn thing moves. So you said this is a 450 stroker, correct?
Correct.
And you said these things are like totally different. The engine's backwards and all. And
engine's backwards. Inside of the motor's completely different from anything you've ever worked on.
Yeah, he was showing me these things. You don't even split the cases. There's one cover. And you said everything goes in like a cassette, right?
Yep, transmission and the crank.
You can see the batteries in front of the motor. It's just totally weird. And I'll show you on another one. The gas tank basically runs down below the seat, right?
Yeah, literally everything's backwards.
It's really, really neat. And he's got, how many of these things do you have, dude?
8 of them.
He's got 8 of them. Most people have never even seen one. And then this one, some of you guys may recognize as a gas. I think they were called the Wild HP 300.
Yep. And there was a 250 too, and a 450.
The 250 came before, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they replaced it with the 300, and then the 450 replaced the 300. The 450 was 4-stroke though.
Yeah. You got a smoking deal on this thing though. You never see these things. A lot of shared geometry with the 250R. They're just really cool. They come factory with these Olin shocks. And then another, I wouldn't say as rare, but this is a rare quad too, a DS650. So just 4 really rare quads right here. People are going to think I got a Cannondale.
Oh yeah, without a doubt they're going to think you got a Cannondale.
And then you can see inside even more rare stuff. More Cannondales, Takati 3.
With the KX500.
With a KX500 motor. Look at that damn thing. And I'll tell you what, there was a story with every one of these machines. We probably have been talking for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, at least.
And we could probably go all day long. But just so much rare stuff here. Joe's kind enough to tell me about all this stuff. I mean, he's like an expert with this stuff.
I wouldn't say expert, but
I don't know,
I
man.
made my way through them.
I wouldn't put it past you, dude. You got all kinds of Cannondale parts.
Yeah. I got enough to break them a couple times.
Yeah. I'd say you're the go-to guy for Cannondale for sure. I have this beast in the back of the truck. Are you ready to see this? Are you ready for this? All right, here it is. Here it is. Ready? Oh, yeah. Look at that power plant. Oh, man. So it's a KFX450R. It's got Meyer plastics on it, so it might look a little bit different, but you can see it's got the cowl for those owl eyes. I don't know if you can see it in the reflection. That's definitely coming off. I hate the look of those owl eyes, but I think it's not as bad as it looks, guys, I swear. The rest of it is in boxes. Oh man, thumbs up if you enjoy buying a machine in boxes. Who doesn't love buying a machine in boxes? This could be a huge nightmare. Oh yeah, this could be fun. No grab bar. All right, so let's check this thing out, man. So obviously a basket case. We got it in pieces, but everything's really tight. I went around and shook all of the A-arms and whatnot. The axle is nice and tight. I don't think we're gonna have to mess with the bearings. Everything's really nice and tight on it. And the tires are even decent. I'm planning, I think we should get tires for this thing, but if we don't have the budget, if we can't fit that in there, these tires shouldn't suck. I mean, the front ones are pretty bad, but we could get by with them. This already has Nerf bars on it. That's really nice. We got some Meyer plastics. They're kind of chintzy looking. I'm not sure what's going to happen with those. I'm definitely not going to buy plastics. That's way too expensive. But I'll see if maybe this like carbon fiber print on here, maybe that will come off with lacquer thinner. I don't know. I mean, it looks kind of tricked the way it is, but I want to get like the sticker glue off, shit like that. And when I just have a feeling when I put the lacquer thinner on there, it's going to wipe right off. And check this out. Look at these bars, man. I'd say that this was rolled at some point in time.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I don't know if the handlebars might not be, the bars actually might be straight, but the steering stem is definitely bent. This is a total botch job, man. Spray paint. This you guys watched the Banshee series? When I first bought the Banshee, they were spray painted black on the underside, and then I don't even remember what color the tops were painted, but that's basically what's going on here. These are probably gonna go in the garbage. I'm really glad that he gave me 2 sets of plastics. Oh yeah, guys, check out all this stuff. Just parts on top of parts on top of parts. This is like the adult version of just inheriting a huge bin of mix and match Legos. Got an airbox down here, got our radiator over here, and of course the machine. I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm like super overwhelmed here. This project is turning into more than what we thought, but it's going to be awesome. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all this stuff and kind of unbox it and see what we're even working with, because I don't even know what the hell we're working with in here, man. Just so much stuff. From what I can see, it's got a Pro Design intake, an Hmf exhaust, which is going to need a little bit of work. You can see I got a nice little hole in it. And there's a programmer in here too, but this thing looks really whooped. I don't even know if we can adjust this thing. It looks like all the knobs are trashed. Luckily, DRW is going to be hooking us up with a Procom unit, which should be a lot better than that anyways. Man, there is just so much stuff. We got fresh cases in here. Got a brand new AC grab bar. At least it looks like it's brand new. This is the old bottom end. Oh, man. I don't know if you guys can see that. Right there's where the case is all messed up. Apparently, it ran really well. And, well, I don't know about really well, but it ran. And you know, the guy that I bought this from, he bought this brand new gasket kit, and there's new cases in here, and he just kind of lost interest in the project. And man, we even got a service manual. That just kind of completes the package. This is the best purchase I could have ever had. All right, so let me unbox this stuff, and let's see what we're working with. And I'm also going to take the plastics off of the four-wheeler, because I already noticed there's some snapped off bolts and some things that need to be serviced. So I just want to get an idea of what we're looking at. Check out these cases. These are basically brand new. It looks like they were already surfaced. They look super clean. So we're definitely good in that department. Here is the cylinder. I don't believe we're going to be running this. I think we're getting a top end kit from BP Racing, which is freaking awesome. We have our cups up here. This is the piston. It's really not in bad shape. You can see there's a little bit of wear on the skirts. We're not going to be running that either. Here's the head in pretty good shape. So we'll clean that up. Apparently these have pretty decent flow from the factory. So I probably won't really mess with that. I might do a little bit of porting and polishing on that myself. Got our other covers and whatnot, our flywheel. Here's our throttle body, the radiator. We got a bunch of parts down here. And I didn't pull out any of this electrical stuff. And I took the plastics off. Look at these handlebars, man. They're bent pretty good, man. So the steering stem clearly needs to be replaced. I don't really want to straighten that. I think that's kind of janky. And plus, I think an extended anti-vibe steering stem is a really nice upgrade. So we'll take care of that. Check this out, man. Oh, man. All kinds of stuff is broken on here. So we definitely have our work cut out for us. Tires are whooped. We're going to be replacing them. Got our Nerf bars. We'll see if we can get some lime green nets. And back here, nothing really special. Luckily, like I said, our bearings and everything are pretty tight back here. Pretty good to go. And we have, I believe this is stock gearing. I'm not sure if we'll get different sprockets or not. And as far as these plastics go, I guess we'll be running the white plastics. We'll see if we can clean them up a little bit because they are kind of looking lousy, and we won't be running the owl eyes or those stock fenders. So I'm waiting to hear back from a couple companies that are possibly going to be helping out with parts. There's some stuff that I do want to take care of right now. We can already get moving on this thing. First thing I want to do is take apart the can, and we're going to send that out for powder coating. We're going to make that a nice lime green because you know I'm going to kill it with the appearance. And yeah, so let's get moving. Okay, so here's our Hmf exhaust. You can see this thing is pretty rough. Look at that, the finish is already bubbling up and stuff on it. It really just looks like hell. So we're gonna make it a nice, vibrant lime green. It should look pretty sweet. We'll take the tag off that says Hmf, and that will be either matte or gloss black. And I think I'm gonna make the tip the same color as the tag. You can see here anyway. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that tip is loose. We'll repack this bad boy, and we'll also take off these exhaust shields and have those things powder coated as well. That's manufacturer supplied right there. This is really dumb. These are all horrible drill bits. It shouldn't be this hard to drill out. Aluminum rivets. What the f is going on here? Good God. All right, so I sent that out for powder coating, and we just got a major game changer, guys. I hopped on BP Racing to see if they had what I needed, and I ended up talking to Steve, the owner, and he heard that I had a KFX450R, and he was like, dude, I got the parts that you need. And he hooked it up, man. We got more stuff than we even need. All right, let's open this stuff up. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like super excited to start working on this KX. So brand new Vertex gasket kit. This is top and bottom end. So this will have everything that we need for our rebuild. Then we got our hot rods, crank bearings. Even though we may be reusing some of the bearings in the bottom end, the crank bearings I definitely didn't want to reuse because these probably get the most stress out of all the bearings in the bottom end. All right, now we got our piston. I believe this is factory bore. At least that's what I asked for, but you never know. Maybe Steve wanted to give me a surprise and gave me a big bore. I don't know. There we go, we got our piston rings, 96 millimeters, so this is factory bore. That is what we wanted. Like I said, we don't want any problems. There is our pin, sweet. Wiseco's always got these nice felt bags. I always feel bad, I don't want to throw them out. They're so nice. So there's that, high compression. Ooh, yeah, and I got the arrow on there. So just in case you don't know what you're doing, you can at least put the piston in facing in the correct orientation. Oh yeah, even more, oh yeah. Got some hot rods, or hot cams rather. The KFX is apparently one of the more underpowered 450s. You know, back when 450s were in full swing and all the manufacturers were making them, the KFX 450 was kind of the runt of the litter. Now, luckily I do have some of the mods here to rectify that, but the cams should help out a lot too. So I really appreciate BP hooking this up. This would not have fit into the budget. All right, and last but not least, whoo-hoo! This thing is bubble wrapped to the max, dude. You could play basketball with this thing, and the cylinder would probably still be okay. So let's pop this thing open and see what we got going on. Man, there's something about new motor parts. It almost doesn't matter what it is. It's just so nice to get new parts. I bet you this has a larger water jacket. I'm gonna get the OEM one here in a second and we can compare it. Even though we don't have a big bore build here, we're gonna have a fresh bore, basically a fresh motor. We should be making good power. Oh wow, yeah, definitely. It may be kind of hard for you guys to see. On the OEM one, the cylinder actually goes in, and on this Athena one, it comes out. So that is more space to have more coolant. So this should actually run a little bit cooler than the OEM one. That's really awesome. I wasn't even aware of that. Also got this blind bearing puller. We're gonna use this to pull the bearings out of our old dingy, crappy cases. This is a fresh kit of mine. I've never used a blind bearing puller before, but that should enable us to reuse some of the bearings in the bottom end And then we got some brakes, brand new EBC, and we got a Tusk competition clutch. Not going with anything crazy, you know. That's another reason I wanted to stick with stock bore, because once you start doing crazy power, you got to start updating the clutch and all kinds of stuff like that. And we just don't got time for that. Let's split the bottom end, see if we can pull the bearings out and get the bottom end together with all of our fresh stuff. Dude, this thing is like super dirty. Oh man, look at that. That's where that cracked case is. Whew. Bearings exposed. Crank does feel good though, and I noticed the clutch is like super grooved out. You see all the grooves in there on the inner hub and on the fingers. The fingers we can definitely smooth out. Oh man, yeah, they're notchy. I'm not sure if I can get the inner hub quite as effectively. We'll see, we'll see. Maybe I can clean that up. I don't even really know if that's necessary. If I can get in there, we'll definitely make it a little bit smoother. Oh man. All right, let's rip this thing down. This is what was left of the clutch that came with it. It's pretty much trashed. Some of these little studs or whatever are broken off and stuff. Junk. Clutch basket isn't in horrible shape other than these fingers having grooves. That we can smooth out, no problem. Our gear on the back is in good shape, no play, so this can be reused. Man, that is really on there. I'm missing something here. Now this primary drive gear bolt is right-hand threaded, so you actually go to the right to get this thing loose. Man, is that tight. Ooh, that's bent. That is definitely bent. Now, as I'm doing this, I do like to make a list of parts that I need to order, so that way I don't forget when it comes time to put things back together. Ugh. Ugh. That needs to be cleaned up for sure. This gear is really cool. When you spin it, it has like a dual action kind of effect. It's nice and smooth too. It's pretty neat. All right, now let's check out this oil screen. Ugh. Oh man. Dude, there's no way this thing was getting good oil flow. Holy shit. Wow. Dude, that is crazy. Wow, this literally, I mean, must have had like zero flow. Holy shit. Wow. I'd say it's time for a new front sprocket. Definitely replacing that seal. Whew. Man, this thing is gross. Oh. Dude. Oh man, what the hell? Oh jeez. Holy shit, I forgot a bolt. Could have been bad. Oh my god, are you serious? That's unbelievable. The f***ing case splitter cracked. I can't even believe that. I guess I'll have to weld that up. Unbelievable. Okay, there it is. The trans looks pretty good. Crank looks okay. But what the f***? Dude. Oh, man. That's freaking nasty. All right, well, I'm going to clean this out the redneck way and use some gasoline, and then we'll take a closer look at these parts. Jeez. All right, guys, check it out. This is where the bottom end was disassembled, and I just wanted to show you the consistency of what was in the crankcase. That is literally, it's like a gelatin. Like, I don't think I've ever seen oil so gooey. I mean, ugh. This is shaping up to be a great challenge. All right, guys, so here's our stuff. It actually cleaned up pretty nice. Got all that sludge and everything out. The bearings actually feel okay. They're a little bit dry, but that's okay. They all feel like they're pretty good. We got new crank bearings. We don't have to worry about those. And what's pretty cool, I think all of these bearings have these bearing stay things. A lot of times when they have these stays, the bearings aren't that tight of a fit. So we might be able to pull these things out easier than we think. If we have to, I'll put it in the oven. That should help a little bit. But I'm going to try seeing if we can just kind of tap them out gently without even putting them in the oven. Because as long as we're very gentle, we shouldn't damage these bearings. Crank and everything feels good. All of the transmission gears and everything look good. So we actually look like we have a pretty solid machine here, even though we were running on sludge and not oil. It seems like it held up pretty nice. Show you guys this side of the case. You can see it actually, this half of the case is good. Unfortunately, you really should use mated cases that come together. So I don't really know that I could resell this thing. Maybe I can, I don't know. And then this one right there. So definitely looks a lot better now that it's cleaned up. And I did notice this, I don't know if you guys can see in here, there's some kind of like broken piece of metal in here. I don't know what it is. I can't even get it out. It is like wedged in there. No idea what that is. It looks like a broken piece of gear or something, but I didn't see any broken teeth. Well, I'll try to rip that out of there. It doesn't really matter because we're not using this case. I just pulled this out. This is what that was. It's a gear. Look what I found. I missed this. Oh, man, that sucks. You know why that sucks? Not because I have to buy another gear, but because now I have to wait for the damn gear to put this thing together. Just, what the f***? Well, I just hopped on the computer because I had to know right away how expensive that gear is. And it's not too bad. It's 75 bucks. So we can definitely fit that in the budget. It's not that big of a deal, but it kind of puts a damper on our situation because now we can't put the bottom end together until we get that gear. So the crazy thing about that is where that was stuck, that's in one of the oil passages, and that's the area where all the sludge was. So that gear being jammed up in that hole was probably blocking off the oil circulation, causing this whole thing to get poor oil circulation. So we're kind of lucky that the parts are in as good of shape as they are. So it is what it is. I will order that gear. Maybe I can get it cheaper than 75 bucks. Who knows? Maybe I can find a used one on eBay or something. But whatever. I'm going to take these retainers off. We'll see if we can get the bearings swapped out in the meantime. Jeez. Holy crap. Wow, this was a little hotter than I wanted. Holy crap, every single bearing just popped out. All right, since we have to wait for a new gear and some other engine parts, let's go work on the roller. There were a lot of details and things that I didn't film in this project because I was under the gun time-wise, making sure to complete this quad in time for the top quad competition. But I stopped along the way to show progress and talk about problems I was running into. So I just got done putting some new EBC brake pads on both sides up front. We're gonna be doing the back too. And I'm bleeding the brakes. I just wanted to show you guys before I do this how nasty this fluid is. It's cloudy and dark. Definitely needs to be replaced badly. So I'm gonna drain them out. I'll do the back brakes too. Let me show you these pads. The pads look like hell. Look at these things, holy shit. Trashed. I also polished up the rims. I was gonna paint them black. Figure I'll just polish them up, get some bling points. Check it out. I have been cleaning the crap out of this quad. I wanted to show you something though. I haven't been filming a lot of this stuff because it's like monotonous work, but this is pretty cool. So I'm doing the frame right now, and I've been cleaning up aluminum parts. And I'll show you over here, like the radiator. That cleaned up really, really nicely. I didn't really have to do too much to it. I just sprayed it down with aluminum brightener and scrubbed it a little bit. All these other pieces, cleaned all that stuff up. I don't like working with dirty things. So over here, I wanted to show you, this is the portion of the frame that I just put the aluminum brightener on. And I'm just like so impressed with how easily it's cleaning this up. I just wanted to show you guys. This is the side that's not done. You can see it looks like crap. The aluminum is kind of like a little discolored. It's like a little bit yellowed and stuff from sitting outside. And again, over here, you can see that one little section. I just sprayed it on there and gave it like a quick scrub with that brush there, and it really cleaned it up. I'm gonna see what it does to this swing arm. And the stuff that I'm using is right here. It's this cleaner from Napa, aluminum brightener. So I just figured I'd give you guys that little tip. So I'm gonna get to cleaning the rest of this frame, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done.
1 hour later.
All right, so there it is, baby. This thing is gonna look brand new. Check out even the underside of this frame. Everything's aluminum, except for the A-arms. It just cleaned up really, really nicely. That swing arm really did clean up nice. I mean, it's not perfect. I didn't clean like all the little nooks and crannies and stuff, but I did clean it pretty well. So when we throw some new tires on here, new steering stem, got a belly skid for it, this thing's gonna look really, really nice. I just can't get over how clean it is. That aluminum brightener really does an awesome job. As I slowly chipped away at the roller, my parts came in for the engine, so it was time to get back to that. All right, guys, so check it out. We do have our 2 case halves here. These are brand new case halves right from Kawasaki. And I went ahead and cheated a little bit, guys, and I did put the bearings in already. I used the oven and freezer method. So we put these cases in the oven at 230 degrees, and then I left the bearings in the freezer for probably about 3 days. That makes putting the bearings in a breeze. I also popped our seals in, and you can see there is a clip, a circlip, in here for the output shaft seal. You can see how nice and clean these cases are, man. All nice and surfaced and everything, right from Kawasaki. That is freaking awesome. I've already put assembly lube on our bearings, caked it up pretty good. And you can see our crank bearing came brand new with assembly lube already on it, that blue grease in there. Our 5th gear was shot. So I've already gone ahead and replaced 5th gear, which I believe is this one right here. So I got a brand new gear right from Kawasaki on there, and we're gonna go ahead and put these things in place. We're gonna face them this way. There we go. Now in this video, I won't be going through every single detail about building this engine, but if you're interested in seeing this engine being built step by step, the entire process, I do have a 45-minute video that is a complete tutorial of how to build a KFX450R engine. I'll have that video linked in the description below, so definitely check that video out if you're interested. But for now, let's get back to the good stuff. Oh, and if you're enjoying the video, please remember to give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. All right, we're getting ready to put our clutch on here, and I've already gone ahead. You can see these fingers are nice and clean, nice and smooth. They were all grooved out, smoothed them all out, so they should be good to go now. And then we have our inner clutch hub. Same thing with this. All of these were grooved out really bad, so I cleaned them all up, smoothed them all out. This is the clutch basket and the inner hub, or boss. And what I'm doing is I'm cleaning up all of the fingers. You see they're grooved? They were grooved pretty badly. And then you can see these ones I smoothed out. So I have quite a bit of work to do on this one. There's like 100 of these, really, and you got to do both sides. can see I got these ones back here. I already did the fingers on the basket. That green stuff is actually wax, or polish rather, because after I got all the grooves out of the fingers, I actually hit it with some polish. You can see they're not perfect, but they're a hell of a lot better than they were. That's going to help out a lot. And I've just been refinishing a bunch of fasteners because these were like really, really rusty. Ideally, you should replace this, but for the Top Quad Challenge that this is being used for, we had a $3,000 budget, so I tried to save everywhere that we could. Now guys, as I mentioned, I didn't replace these parts just to stay under the $3,000 budget. Keep in mind this was a challenge build, so I did a lot of stuff that I wouldn't typically do. But in reality, this clutch basket and inner hub were both too far gone to be reused. Smoothing out the fingers the way that I did can work if you have mild grooves, but in a case like this, it's actually dangerous because it's nearly impossible to uniformly file down each individual finger, and I needed to take a lot off. This can result in the lugs on your clutch fibers contacting unevenly, causing there to be more pressure on some of the lugs than the others, and this actually resulted in my clutch exploding, which you'll see later in this video when I upgrade the clutch. Luckily that didn't happen until about 15 hours of use, but long story short, that's why you should always replace these components if you have the funds. Problem. Let's see if we can tighten these down to 44 foot-pounds. Might be a little difficult because we don't have like the motor in a jig or anything, but I should be able to get it done using the old swing arm bolt method. All right, now we're gonna put our camshaft caps in place. This one was actually messed up. It was this one right here. You can see this one, if it'll clear up. This is the one that I fixed. It was one of the valve cover bolts had snapped off in there, and it looked like somebody had tried drilling it out and did a total botch job. You can see this one was fine, but this one was totally whack. So I had it filled with weld, and then I drilled and tapped it and just cleaned it up with a Dremel. Checked with a pair of calipers that it is the right height, and that should be good to go. Check this out, guys. So I'm adjusting the valves, and I just wanted to show you why it's important to use good tools. So this is a dying set of calipers, but this is, if you look at this shim, it says 2.45, so that means it's 2.45 millimeters. Now this is zeroed out, and you can see
It says 2.29 millimeters. So this is basically saying that this 2.45 is incorrect and it's actually 2.29. Now let's look at it with a quality pair. Get it zeroed out. Boom. Exactly 2.45. So you can guess where these calipers are going. Yep. Well, we're moving along with this thing. You can see I got the motor in there, getting the radiator in there. I did put the LSR steering stem in place. The risers are at mats, so I can't put the handlebars on just yet. Painted up these motor mounts because they were rusty and they looked like crap. The motor actually looks really good. So we're just kind of cleaning up odds and ends. And the chain, I noticed the axle doesn't really roll that smooth. And I don't know if you guys can see, it's cocked this way. So I think you can see how close the sprocket is to the carrier. I don't know if that's normal or not. Seems like something is not lined up right because that is, I mean, you can clearly see it's not lined up straight and that's causing it not to roll very nice. And I just caught something. Let me see if I can find it here. I'm actually glad that we had an issue back here because I may not have caught this right here. Got a broken link. So it's weird because the chain is actually really tight, like it feels good. I guess that link had given way, but that would have broken off for sure. So we caught that just in time. And of course these axle nuts were seized, but I did get them broken loose this morning. I had them sitting in PB Blaster for 2 days and I did get those off. So I'm going to pull the axle out and just kind of inspect what's going on in this carrier. And I did order a cheapy $40 billet carrier just in case this is shot. And if it comes, I'm probably going to wait a day or two for that to come in the mail and put the new carrier in there anyways, because even though these bearings feel tight, just because of the condition of some of the other stuff on this quad, it's going to be worth it putting a fresh bearing carrier in there. Plus, it's a dual row bearing carrier, so it'll be a little bit stronger. And yeah, so that's what's going on with this. I'm going to get moving along here.
I wanted to stop and take a minute to thank you for making it this far in the video. I also wanted to remind everyone that the 2021 Blackout T-Shirts are currently available for pre-order. These are premium next level T-shirts with a logo on the front, back, and an American flag logo on the right sleeve. Each t-shirt purchased enters you to win the 426EX that I just got done building. If you haven't seen the 426EX build, definitely check it out on my channel. I will have that linked below. The shirts are $50 each, and all the proceeds go to helping the channel so I can continue to make videos for you guys. To order, please contact me on Instagram at michaelsabo350 or send me an email at michaelsabo350@gmail.com. The pre-order for shirts ends on Christmas Eve 2021, and the winner of the 426EX will be announced shortly after. Also, guys, if you're enjoying the video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. All right, let's get back to the KFX.
Yo, check this out. So I'm hitting out the axle here, which has been seized, and this bearing just literally fell out. You think the carrier was any good? Shit. Figured out why the axle wasn't centered up. There was no spacer between the two bearings. So that other bearing is probably pushed in a little further than it should be. And it was making the sprocket go in this way a little bit too far. So good thing I got that new carrier on order. That comes with a spacer and bearings and everything. So this thing is going to come out and it's probably going to go right in the trash. All right, so we are making progress here. Got this axle all nice and cleaned up. Both sides. The threads are actually decent. but I'm going to retrace these. I'm waiting on the M20 by 1.5 tap, or die rather. So we'll just trace those, make them like new. I did test the axle. It's nice and straight. Got that new, I think it's a 37 tooth sprocket on there. This was a nightmare, but we got it all cleaned out. The carrier was seized in there, but I got that out of there, cleaned it up. You can see it's looking pretty good. Show you guys the other side here. Nice and clean. This whole bike is looking really clean. Got the big clip. I just coated that with some flat black real quick just to prevent rust. And over here, got the carrier stay. Used the soft wire wheel. That cleaned this up really nice. And then I got the Dremel with a mini wire wheel and cleaned out the little areas for our O-rings. Cleaned the O-rings up just in case the new carrier doesn't come with those. We'll have the old ones to use. Cleaned out these threads as much as I could on these axle nuts. Same thing with the Dremel and a little wire wheel. Everything is just cleaned. That's pretty much all I did with this stuff. I did paint the back hubs because, you know, I really just can't leave anything alone. But honestly, this color blue is pretty poppin'. It's pretty vibrant. And the reason I chose blue is because in the graphics, there's some blue that's about this color. So that should actually match pretty nicely. Speaking of the graphics, I get a lot of questions of people asking where I get my graphics designed at. That's something that I design on my own using Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop. I design them and then I send the design to a graphics printing company and have them printed and shipped back to me. Now you'll see here that these graphics end up with a green background. They ended up getting lost in the mail and almost didn't make it here in time for the Top Quad Challenge. So with just 1 week left, I ended up changing the background color to white and had the graphics company send out a second set with expedited shipping. You'll notice later in the video, I'll change the plastics over and you'll see these green graphics. When they finally did come in the mail, I put them on the quad with the Kawasaki green plastics and they looked awesome. So it ended up working out that I got 2 sets of graphics. And here's the grody ass OEM carrier. Dude, this thing is thrashed. Thank God I ordered the billet carrier because this thing is toasted. There's no way I would have put this back in there. I actually had to cut this damn thing out. You can see the edge here. I had to go around with a burr and the Dremel, and I had to cut the edge off because it just was not coming off. You can see where I was whacking it with a punch and a sledgehammer. Man, this thing was seized. I'm telling you. Huge pain in the ass, but you know what? That's the kind of shit you run into with a used machine. So we started the day with a seized hub nut, got that off, fixed the axle, had the seized axle, we got the axle out, seized carrier, got the carrier out, ordered a new carrier, so now the whole rear end should be good to go. Oh, we found that snapped chain. Well, not snapped, but one of the links was bad. That would have snapped. And probably nothing would have happened because we had that DRW case saver on there, but still, I'm glad I found that now. Otherwise, that would have just been a problem out on the trails. So I went and ordered a chain. I got the cheapest chain I could find on eBay. It was like $19 shipped. So projects like this kind of give you an opportunity, or me rather, to test out really cheap products. If it's a bad chain, it's a bad chain, but I've actually had pretty good luck with cheap chains, and people have recommended cheap chains. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so that was about 19 bucks for the chain. It was 40 bucks for the billet carrier. So we should be good to go. Hopefully that stuff will get here in 2 days. So in the meantime, I'm just going to kind of get everything else together, put the wheels on there, fire this bad boy up, and I'm ready to test it out. I'll tell you what, you really just never know what you're going to find with a used machine. That's some botch work right there. It's looking like I'm going to have a hell of a time wiring this pig up. Oh, man. Well, it's 11 o'clock. Might as well put on some music and get to it. Holy shit. This wire harness was a total mess. I had to redo certain connectors, replace connectors, and redo some of the sheathing as there were breaks in a few wires. I also designed a custom set of headlights for the quad. I was never a fan of the owl eyes on the KFX450R. Honestly, I think it kind of makes it look like a kid's quad, and I just never liked the look. On the contrary, I always liked the headlights on the Can-Am utility quads and on the Maverick. I felt like the design of the front fenders on the KFX was a perfect match for that design of headlight. So I get a lot of questions on where I bought these headlights, and here's the answer. I custom made the brackets with my buddy Matt and bolted the brackets directly to the frame by drilling 2 holes in the existing headlight mounts. Then I found the headlights on eBay for just under 40 bucks. They do work pretty decent and they're very solid. So if you do want to make these, I will have the headlights linked in the description below, but it's going to be up to you guys to custom fab
fab your own brackets.
All right, guys, check it out. The new billet bearing carrier is here. This is a cheapie, man. 40 bucks shipped. These things are usually pretty decent. It's a simple part, you know what I mean? These are one of the parts, you know, I don't know if I'd motocross it, but these usually hold up pretty well. Like if you look at the Amazon reviews and stuff, they're usually pretty good. So I'm gonna put some anti-seize on here, grease the Zerk, and we'll pop this thing in place. We're moving along here. I've been wiring everything up. I got the airbox on there, K&N's in there, that's cleaned, lubed. I got our top bolts in there. Radiator hoses are on there. Starting to wire things, route the wires. The wire harness is kind of botched. I made these custom brackets out of, I don't know, 3/16 inch stainless steel. Got these lights for like 35 bucks. They've got blue halos and they glow blue back here. So under the fenders, it should glow. That should actually look pretty trick. Replaced the ignition switch. That was like $7 shipped for an eBay one. Got these green lines on here and put this Boss temperature gauge on there. That was the old one from the 250R since we switched to the digital one. It's all coming together really nice. It's just been a pain in the ass waiting for the exhaust packing and the seat cover too. I put the seat cover on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the axle in. We'll get that done. Here's what it used to look like, and now this is what it looks like after I've sanded it. And it was actually even worse. You can really feel the grooves over here. There's no wonder that this damn thing wouldn't fit. I even took a pair of calipers and measured the outside diameter and then the inside diameter of the bearing carrier, and it was off by like 0.5 millimeter, which is, it just would have never fit in there.
And just like so many other things on this quad, the rear brake caliper was the most seized caliper I've ever had in my entire life. One of the caliper slides was so seized, I actually had to cut the caliper body to get it out. The only reason I even attempted to save this caliper is because I was desperately trying to stay under the $3,000 budget for this challenge.
Whew. Good thing they make replacements for 33 bucks shipped. But this plate is what we needed right here because it's a little bit different than this one. And we can resell this on eBay because it's in mint condition. See?
Now I'm still waiting for my exhaust packing, but I want to go ahead and do a first start because it's getting down to crunch time. And if we have any issues now, I want to have time to address them. So we're just going to go ahead and fire it up without the muffler.
Take one. Take one. Hell yeah, dude.
That's awesome, man.
That was like, didn't really have to crank over that much either.
Yeah. Well, dude, the pleasures of fuel injection.
Now, again, unfortunately, because of the rushed nature of this project, there were a lot of details that I didn't get to film. One of the last things I did catch on camera, though, was getting the parts back for the exhaust system and bringing it back to basically brand new finish with some custom colors.
This basically will look like a brand new exhaust when it's all done. They did the tip in flat black. That'll go on like so. That's going to look really good. The Hmf logo in flat black. We'll rivet that in place. And of course, the two exhaust shields for the header pipe, both sandblasted and powder coated flat black. So that's going to look freaking sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and pack this thing. I do have to tack this piece on that ripped off. I didn't want to do it beforehand. I want to put the exhaust together and mock it up to make sure that I'm mounting this tab in the right spot. That should be easy enough to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what this thing looks like. Whew. Yeah, baby. That looks hella good. The green on the camera, at least on my screen, is definitely not a good representation of this green. It is like a super poppin' lime green, way more vibrant in person, but the flat black and the lime green looks sick. It's gonna look even better on the quad.
At this point, the top quad competition was the next day. I stayed up till 5:30 a.m. finishing the quad, where that day I would need to leave for an 11-hour drive to Indiana, where we were holding the top quad competition. Being so rushed, I never got a chance to do a first ride on this quad or go over everything to make sure that everything was ready to rock and roll. Because of this, I faced a starting issue as soon as we got to Indiana that took 6 hours to diagnose and ended up being nothing more than a loose connection to the fuel pump. Once we found that though, the quad ran great throughout the entire competition, which is pretty astonishing considering that usually there's at least a couple things that need to be tidied up after any complete build.
Just to let you know, I whooped his ass.
Get ready! Feels confident, Justin.
Well, that's probably because Matt cheated and didn't start his time till he you know, I feel like there's going to be some cheating. Sable, let's see it, buddy.
Yeah!
Woo!
That's close.
Woo! Grab it, grab it. You're good, you're good.
Oh,
You're good, you're good.
what should I do here?
Just hop off, click it in gear, and hop off. Yeah, no, we're good. I've been at a worse spot.
Can we get it out of here? Just driving it up, pushing?
I don't think so. We could back it up against this tree here.
Let's pick it up over. Pick the ass end up.
Hold up.
Take it.
I feel like we could turn it right here.
I want this back right tire on that beach tree. Then I'll turn it around and I'll go down.
Let's see if I can get a route here. All right.
We're not too bad.
Top quad 2020. Now it should go down probably no problem. Now you're in gear too.
Oh shit, oh shit.
Now you're in gear too. And right about now, Justin realized he probably shouldn't have been sitting here.
Oh shit.
Oh my God.
Oh, you okay, man?
Oh my God.
Oh, you okay, man?
Wow.
Yeah, that was you got camera?
Yes. Holy hell.
GoPros do not do the climb justice. And even I was like, whoa, this is kind of steep.
that up big time, dude.
You got some big penalties coming.
Yeah, dude, I'm not happy about that.
The KFX ended up performing great in the Top Quad competition with no issues at all. To see which machine did best, definitely check out the Top Quad series. I'll have that linked in the description below. It's crazy to think that just 6 weeks before, this quad was sitting outside rotting away. Even for me, this was a tall order, but in the end, it all worked out. So when you're looking at your next project to take on, just remember, it can be done. Once the Top Quad budget competition was complete, I decided to add a few more mods to this quad. The number one limiting factor that we noticed on the KFX during the competition was the suspension. I had the shocks completely rebuilt, coated, and converted to triple rates by Rocket Ron Racing. The rear was converted to a dual rate. I also had Full Flight Racing make custom +1 A-arms for the front and added a CCP steering stabilizer. I also managed to score a complete set of OEM green fenders, which look badass. A subscriber actually gave them to me, which is freaking awesome. Another thing we noticed on the KFX was that the grip on the pegs was horrible. So I took the Tusk Nerf bars that came with it and modified some monster pegs from Wrath Nerf bars onto them, and the grip is incredible now. Beyond this, I upgraded the performance of the machine by porting the head myself, installing the Stage 3 cams that were sent to me by BP Racing, and adding a full Rossier exhaust. Now, as I said before, the clutch did end up exploding in this KFX.
Well, I see something concerning. I don't know if you guys can see that one friction is raised. You can see back here too. There's a little gap back there. Something's going on. I bet you we have a broken, see back there? I bet you we have a broken clutch plate.
This didn't happen until well down the road and several hours of use, but again, this is because of the excessive wear on the clutch fingers and inner hub of my clutch assembly. Luckily, Recluse hooked it up with a 12-plate torque drive system, which has performed amazingly, and I also got a Wiseco billet basket and a brand new Pro X inner hub. And lastly, because of some starting issues, I converted this quad to carburetor and also put an FCI intake on it, which dramatically improved the power and performance.
All right, I got her warming up. Oh, yes, that's smooth. I bet you we're going to be putting down more power than before. Dude, this thing is going to be a blast in the dunes. Dude, the top end is crazy.
It was awesome getting to use this quad in its original format and then doing these modifications. The way the quad sits now, it's substantially faster and handles on an entirely different level than when it did during the Top Quad competition. I've now had this quad at the sand dunes, at the motocross track, and several other locations. It's become my solid backup quad, and I have to say, it's a fairly light machine and it's very nimble. I really enjoy the power delivery of this machine, and I know a lot of people don't even know about the KFX450R, or they just completely rule it out when looking at 450s to buy, but I would highly recommend a KFX450R. Okay guys, so now you know the story of my 2008 KFX 450R. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I had a lot of fun making this machine. This is actually my go-to solid backup machine. You know, I have the 250R, I've got the Banshee, and this is kind of like my secondary but, you know, reliable machine in case either one of those go down. This is just an awesome all-around bike. I really enjoyed making this thing. So I appreciate you guys following along with this build. I want to thank all of you for your support. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and also consider hitting that subscribe button. If you're looking to support the channel even further, there is the option to join. And until the next one, guys, peace out.